Okay, for this video, we're really going to focus on the guest experience inside the property, and we're going to go room by room, and I'm going to share with you the things that I've learned over all these years being a guest myself and what we really expect to have in our property. Remember, we're trying to get up to not the economy, but up to a little bit of affordable luxury, okay? Not the high-end luxury, but the affordable luxury. Okay, so let's start in the bedroom. Now, a minimum of 2 pillows for every guest. So if it's a bed that sleeps 2 people, there should be 4 pillows on there, and they should be hopefully 2 different kinds. So like a softer pillow and then a more firm pillow. Oh, sorry, this is the soft one. The other one was the firm one. So a minimum of 2 pillows per guest. Okay. Now that might take up our laundry, or any of these things that we talk about in here might change things with housekeeping and laundry, and we might have to adjust prices accordingly. But this is what I really want to have for our guest experience. Okay, in the summertime, a lot of our properties are in warmer climates. So in the summertime, we just need a summer blanket on there. So this is a thin blanket. It's full size, but it is a thin one, and this can be washed. Okay, now with all linens, we should have two not copies of them, but we should have 2 of each one so that they can be laundered. Well, one is on the bed, the other one's in the laundry. So if this was my property, I would have 2 of these identical summer blankets for one bed. So because one could be dirty and one could be getting clean. So these can be washed in just a regular washing machine and dried, and they're a summer blanket. And then for winter time, we should of course have a duvet. And this one, let me just try to find the opening on there. And of course, we launder just the outside. You know, there's the inside part of the duvet. This one's quite a light duvet. If it's one of our colder properties, you should have a thicker duvet. If a regular property should just have a nice, we kind of call them, mid duvet. They're not very poofy, but they're pretty good. Okay, and of course, we wash the outside of this. So we would have, again, multiples of these so that one set could be laundered while the other set is being used by the guest. And there should also be a throw. So this is just one of those throw blankets across the bottom of the bed. And this just adds, sometimes, my wife is this way in particular, she needs a little supplemental warmth for her bedding. And so she wants to have something else there. And again, this can just be laundered. Okay, so we want these laundered between guests. Guests should always have freshly cleaned linens. Now the bed is absolutely important. So the linens should be of top quality, and the bed should be in good shape. The mattress should be in good shape, because of all the amenities in a house, the bed will be used for 6 to 8 hours every day for the guests. So rather than having a large screen TV, which are important, having a great bed with great linens is one of the most important things that we provide for our guests. Okay, now let's talk about the kitchen. Okay, so in the kitchen there should be a minimum of 2 kitchen towels. They're just simple towels. Again, we have extra sets to be laundered. There should be a cutting board. Let me grab a cutting board here. Okay, so here's my cutting board. I like these ones here. They're kind of a hard plastic, and they wood is kind of hard to get really clean, where these really clean up nicely. You can put them in a dishwasher, you can scrub them in the sink really well, and so we should have this. Now the cutting board, when the housekeeper or you resets the apartment for a new guest, the cutting board should always be on the kitchen counter. Don't hide it in a drawer somewhere. Let the guest put it in a drawer. But you never want to have a guest think that there's not a cutting board and then cut on the counter in one of our nice kitchens, because that would do a lot of damage. So how we ensure that, and I got this trick when I was out this summer and I stayed in an Airbnb, and I noticed that they had things on the counter. And so they had the cutting board, and then they had on here, the oil, the salt and pepper, the dish soap, and they had all the amenities for the kitchen kind of on the cutting board, so that the guest would know, there is cooking oil here, there's salt and pepper. So that's important. So always make sure that you or the housekeeper leaves the cutting board on the counter, and then the guest can go put it in a drawer if they want to. Okay, so again, we should have in the apartment, there should be everything for a guest to make enough coffee for 2 per guest for 3 days. So if one person was staying 2 times, that should be 6 enough for 6 cups of coffee. Okay, so maybe it's instant coffee, you have 6 packages. If there's 2 people staying, you need to have 12 packages, okay? Or pods, or whatever. Different properties have different ways that they do coffee, but hear me when I say this. So normally people have about 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and then we should have enough for 3 days. So depending if there's 1 guest staying or 2 guests staying, or in one of our properties we can have up to 4 guests, you might have to have a lot of coffee. And then there should be sugar. If you can, please put those little things of cream that don't expire. You know, they have a long shelf life. Maybe set some of those there. There should be salt and pepper, cooking oil. There should be a full-size dish soap so that people can, clean their dishes. If there's a dishwasher in the property, we should have dishwasher soap. Sometimes they're tabs, sometimes they're powder, but we should have dishwasher soap available to them. And then a scrubbing sponge. Now the scrubbing sponge should look brand new. Here's the one just for my sink, and you can see I've got a little thing on there that I want to take off. So if you can't get the scrubbing sponge nice and clean, then get a new one. Okay, what we never want this is to look used and old. So they're so affordable. Just buy a new one so that the guest sees that they're brand new. There's nothing worse than going into a property and seeing a really old scrubbing sponge, especially when they only cost a little bit to replace. So make sure that the scrubbing sponge looks new, and if it doesn't, get a new one. There should be a roll of paper towel there. Remember, all these things help keep the property clean. And what we said before, protects the property and protects the guest's experience, so they have a really great experience in it. There should be all the utensils for the number of guests there. So there should be enough plates and cups and forks and knives, everything so that, let's say there's only 2 people that stay there. There should be enough for double that, so that some can be being washed in the sink and then they can still have a cup of coffee even though they're there. So if it was for 2 people, there should be probably 4 coffee cups and 4 glasses to drink out of and 4 wine glasses and those type of things. And then when it comes to the pots and pans, we have tried nonstick in our properties, but guests just seem to not treat them very nicely, and non-sticks only last for a few months before they've been scratched up, usually with a bad scrubbing sponge. Okay, so this one is a safe one. It's made for scrubbing non-stick, so we buy that for here. But a lot of times people just buy the regular one, and that just destroys a non-stick surface in a frying pan. So all the properties from now on going forward should have stainless steel, a good quality stainless steel of pots and pans, and make sure there's lids for them as well. Okay, so and then they can always be scrubbed clean because they're pots and pans. So get a good quality stainless steel, no aluminum, no nothing. Most of our properties have induction cooktops, so they have to be compatible with an induction cooktop, but that's what we want for the kitchen. Okay, moving on into the bathroom, actually kind of back into the bedroom, but on the bed should be these 3 towels per guest, and of course there should be a second set of those that are off in the laundry somewhere, getting washed and stored. So these are the 3 towels that every guest should have. There should be the small washcloth in a dark color. This is for removing makeup, and so that we don't stain a white one if a woman wants to use it to remove makeup. Then we have a medium-sized towel, usually white, and then a full-size towel, usually white, for used after bathing or taking a shower. Now, the bath mat. In some of the properties, we have really big bath mats that have all these little nubs on them, and they're very difficult to clean. So, and they have rubber on the backing of them, which also makes them difficult in a washing machine because they can't really remove enough water. So if you have some of these in the properties from me, please remove them, give them away, throw them away, do something with them, and replace them with a bath mat that is like a towel. Okay, so this is a towel version of a bath mat, and you can see front and back it's the same, and they're very easy to launder because one of the things that guests really look for is that they're getting a clean bath mat. And the way to really get that is to get a towel bath mat. I saw this when I was staying in hotels. I'm like, I really got to get those big fluffy ones out. So if we have any of those bath mats that have rubber on them or they're big and fluffy, get them out and just replace them. Not with a regular towel. This is a towel version of a bath mat, okay? Now, the bathroom should also have a hair dryer. It should have at least 3 rolls of toilet paper should be in there, 3 rolls. Okay, hand soap next to the sink. It can be just the hand soap container that you buy at the supermarket. That's fine. Make sure you buy a good looking one. Or you can get a refillable one like the one I have here in my house. It's actually labeled hand soap, but that is a plastic label, so I can wash this. And this one, you notice this is easy to clean. We always want to have accessories like soap and everything that are easy for the housekeeping to clean, so they don't have to get in there and try to get all the soap scum out of there. This is an easy to clean one. You just wipe it down. So this is refillable, or you have the non-refillable ones we just buy at a supermarket, but just keep them, make sure that they're nice and full. You can see this one is nearly to the top. Okay, so and then we have in the shower, there's a full size of body wash. There's a full shampoo and a full conditioner. We never have bar soap, never a bar soap, because that's gross and you never want guests to share those. So always body wash. And then, of course, a box of tissues. Let me grab one right here. There should be a box of tissues in the bathroom as well. So that's the minimum we're saying for bathrooms. Okay, let's go through cleaning supplies really quickly. Okay, we should have a broom and a dustpan. There should be a vacuum there. We should have window cleaner there, like a multi-purpose cleaner for kitchens and surfaces and things, as well as a bathroom cleaner. Usually they're a spray bottle is what all these have. And then some cleaning towels. Okay, so we should have enough there. So again, this is protecting the property and making things easier for housekeeping when the guest leaves. If the guest has all the supplies they need to be able to do the cleaning, then usually they will keep the property clean. So we want to have those things. Okay, and then let's talk about some odds and ends here. Okay, the property, if you have a beach near you, so this is usually Spain and Greece, there should be beach towels, 1 per guest, beach towels. Okay, probably put in stored in a pantry or someplace so the guests can have access to it. 1 beach umbrella for these properties, and then 1 beach blanket. Now, of course, we need 2 of them because you'll need to launder them. So, and of course the towels, the beach towels as well, we'll need double those so that 1 set can be in the laundry. So again, we need beach towels, beach umbrella, and a beach blanket for the guests. There should be a clothes iron available to iron clothes, as well as the ironing board, of course. There should be a drying rack for our guests to be able to dry their clothes after they wash them. And there should be laundry soap available on site for a minimum of at least 4 loads. So if it's tabs, that you put in the laundry, there should be 4 of them, or maybe it's powder, there should be enough of them. You can always give them more, but a minimum of 4. And then also there should be umbrellas, large umbrellas. You buy the big large ones so that they are kind of hard to take, not the portable ones. Buy big large umbrellas, and there should be 1 per guest. So most of our properties sleep only 2 people, so you'd put 2 big umbrellas by the front door or hang them somewhere so that they're available for guests. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, I'm editing this video right now, and I forgot to talk about what do we do if a guest takes some of our supplies. Okay, if a guest is only spending 2 nights in our property, and then the housekeeper comes and realizes all the coffee is gone, all the shampoo has been taken, all the laundry soap is gone, all those kind of things like that, well, that's a problem. If they take everything, then I could just charge them through Airbnb, and I could make a request saying, hey, the guests took all of the consumables, all the supplies. Now, if a guest has been there for 2 weeks, with a lot of our guests are like medium term stays. They're there for 2 weeks to 3 weeks to 4 weeks. I mean, first of all, they're going to use up all the coffee. They're going to use up all the toilet paper, maybe even some of the cooking oil, whatever. And so if they were to take the shampoo or something, it doesn't really matter in the end. It's okay. We'll just go buy new stuff. It's fine. So I just wanted to be clear on that. Sometimes we worry that if we buy full size that guests will take them all, and sometimes they do. And if it gets to be a big problem, I can just, on Airbnb, just send the request for money and solve it all with Airbnb. Well, I now remembered another 2 things. Okay. The first one being, make sure that the bedding is the appropriate size for the bed and not too small. Okay. My wife and I, we once stayed in an Airbnb that had a king size bed, but only had a queen size blanket on it. So it just barely went to the edges, but it didn't go over the edges. And it made it just awkward to sleep because, you're kind of trying to get in the blanket and you're stealing it from the other person. So make sure, obviously queen size beds, we have a few of those in our properties, should have queen size blankets. And king size beds should have king size blankets. In some countries, those can be really hard to find, but make sure to get the appropriate size that they go over the edge and keep our guests nice and comfortable. Because remember, the bed is one of the most important amenities that we offer our guests. And now the second thing are bathrobes. Okay, some of our properties have bathrobes. We're going to go ahead and remove those from the properties. They're just not very many guests actually ever use them, but we still have to launder them between guests. They're very bulky. They're like one bathrobe is equivalent to like 3 towels as far as how much moisture they hold and how difficult they are to launder, to wash, and to dry. So we're going to take all the bathrobes out of the property. So if you're managing one of the properties that has bathrobes, please just remove them, as we don't want to, we no longer want to offer those as one of the amenities to our guests. Thanks.